Social media has spread this notion that you have to follow this mega high carbohydrate diet in order to look good, feel good, and achieve your fitness goals. Well, whether your goal is to add muscle, it's to lose fat or bulk up, the high fat diet is always going to be the one that you should follow. The reason that you should trust me is because I've done both. When I was bodybuilding, I followed a ridiculously high carbohydrate diet. I know how that looked. I know how that felt. Now I follow a high fat diet, and the difference in the way I look, in the way that I feel, in the way that I perform is absolutely night and day. What we're going to do in this video is compare the two, go over the facts, go over the science as to what the answer is for which one is better across these many factors right here. Let's talk about health, okay? Health on the high fat diet versus health on a high carbohydrate diet. There's two things we need to look at here in particular. The first being inflammation related, and the second looking at actually how many vital nutrients and minerals we're getting from each of these diets. From an inflammatory standpoint, the high carbohydrate diet is very, very inflammatory. Okay, because that's the nature of carbohydrates. They're very inflammatory. You feel bloated after eating them. Fats, on the other hand, are incredibly low inflammatory. Not only that, when you look at both of these food groups and you look at them and go, what vital nutrients and minerals do I actually derive from either of these diets? It stands out like a sore thumb that you're going to get way more from high fat. The main nutrient in particular that you're going to be deriving from the high fat diet is essential fatty acids. In terms of nutrients you get from carbohydrates, there's next to nothing. You may argue that in something like fruit, you're going to be getting a load of vitamins and minerals. However, the majority of other carb sources, you're not really getting anything from. They're all grains, they're all starches. You're getting nothing beneficial from these food sources at all. So from a health front, we're going to have to give the fats the win and carbs the cross. Now, I know somebody is going to mention and be thinking to themselves something along the cholesterol lines. Oh, if I eat so much fat, it's going to result to high cholesterol. This is incredibly outdated information. High cholesterol is not an issue. What is an issue is high triglycerides. It's the triglycerides hardening within your arteries, which are going to lead to issues which are then linked to cholesterol. And the leading factor to high triglycerides is actually high body fat. Right, and you're far more likely to put on body fat in a high carbohydrate diet. A lot of people think that the butter on their bread is the reason why they're going to experience heart problems, but the actual issue is the bread under your butter. People think, oh, the more carbs you eat, the more energy you're going to have. That's wrong. When you eat carbohydrates, you're getting a massive influx of glucose into the body. When you get that massive increase in glucose, your blood sugars are going to rise in order to release insulin to transport that glucose to the cells to make that available for energy. Sounds fantastic, doesn't it? However, this energy is very quick. It takes a toll on the body to actually make use of this glucose, and done throughout the day, your blood sugars are going to be irregular. So you're going to get areas of high energy, areas of low energy. And that's why you've probably found when you eat a carb heavy meal, you feel good for maybe an hour, but then after that, you start to crash. That is your blood sugars coming back down. Fats, on the other hand, are a slower release form of energy. You've probably heard of something like ketosis. The same happens when we go through a process called lipolysis. This is when we use fat for energy. This is a lot more stable. Your blood sugars are going to be more stable. You're not going to get these crazy up and downs like you would do with a high carb diet. So because of that, fats win, carbs lose. There's always a massive argument around appetite and which is actually better for your appetite, because people will go 1 gram of fat has 9 calories in it and 1 gram of carb has 4 calories in it. So immediately people go, oh, carbs are better because you can have more of them. Your body doesn't understand numbers, okay? Your brain understands numbers. Your body doesn't get that. Because fats are slower digesting and they have next to no effect on your blood sugars, they're actually going to be better for appetite. They're going to leave you feeling fuller for longer. Carbs, super quick to digest. They give you that super quick influx of energy. But much like I mentioned with the energy levels, once they go up, the blood sugars come back down. And on that crash, that's where you're going to start feeling hungry again. You don't get that with fat. Fat's are slower digesting. Eat a massive high fat, high protein meal. You're going to be full for hours and hours on end. Oh, that's dodgy. Fats, carbs. Metabolic flexibility. This sounds confusing. It's absolutely not. This essentially means how flexible can you be with your eating? Can you fast for extended periods? Do you have to eat very, very frequently? Well, again, if your appetite is being managed and your energy levels are consistent and it's healthier for you, fats win again. So performance is a funny one. When I talk about performance, I mean, how is this going to impact your performance in the gym? How is this going to impact maybe your running or anything in which you're pushing yourself on an athletic front? Immediately, you think carbs are better for performance, and I'm not going to dispute that. Carbs are a quick release form of energy. You need them in order to perform. You need them to produce something that we call glycogen within the muscle. It's glucose and water. That's what forms glycogen. And glycogen is the most available form of energy for your muscles to use. There is a big but to this. When your diet is full of carbs all the time, the efficiency in which your body can convert glucose to available energy within the cells through the release of insulin gradually becomes impaired over time. If you're having 300-400 grams of carbs a day, that is constantly placing a tax on your pancreas to produce insulin. And then what happens over time is you start to become insulin resistant, which is where your body cannot produce enough insulin to keep up with the demands in which glucose is coming into the body. So you need a mix of both. You need to base your diet primarily off of fats, but still include some carbohydrates in there. So whilst a high carb diet on paper seems like it's going to be great for performance, and the more carbs you eat, the better you're going to be fueled. From fueling from a longevity standpoint, more fats paired with some carbs is going to be your best option, which is what I always recommend when people do eat the high fat diet. High fat doesn't necessarily mean that you don't eat carbs. It just means that you primarily base your diet off of getting the most of your energy through fat. So for this, I'm actually just going to put a tick in both. Digestion, okay? How many times have you eaten a carb heavy meal and felt bloated? More often than not. Try and eat 2,000 calories through carbs, then go and eat 2,000 calories through fats. Look at which one leaves you the most bloated. Now, there is an argument to say that because carbs digest faster, it means that it's actually easier on your digestive system. However, in terms of what your gut actually likes, it's pretty self-explanatory through the bloating. And you'll actually find that your digestion is a lot better with a high fat diet as opposed to a high carbohydrate diet. Enjoyment, okay? We all love carbs. Let's not dispute that. A lot of the best foods in the world are carbs. I'm thinking pasta. I'm thinking cookies. However, following a high fat diet means you tend to go for fattier cuts of meat. I'm talking ribeye, I'm talking chicken thigh, salmon over cod. Cod's leaner, salmon's higher in fat. So again, it depends where you stand on this spectrum. I am going to go for high fat, and I'm also going to go for carbohydrates as well. But I would steer towards the high fat side of things. To get the answer for convenience, we're going to have to look at some of these other factors. And we sit there and we go, well, if it allows me to be metabolically flexible, it manages my appetite better, and it keeps my energy levels more stable. The reason why bodybuilders eat 5, 6, occasionally 7 meals a day is because they're carb heavy. They need that constant influx of meals. Is it convenient eating 5, 6, 7 times a day? Absolutely not. You're batshit crazy if you want to do that. I've done it for a period of time. Least convenient part of my life. Now, you're probably going to be very brainwashed into thinking that this is the way forward and this is how you should do things, and you should eat loads of carbs and you shouldn't eat that many fats. I urge you to try it. Try it, see how you feel over the course of a week. I guarantee you'll feel better across every single front. You'll feel healthier, your energy will be higher, your appetite will be more managed. If you need any more help with this, just drop a line in the comments. I'll be there to help you out.